and I go -2 back, lands me in the ocean, right? So it lands me in the ocean, and we can still take the reverse of that. Notice that you would think that this would be a negative 3.5 scale degree, but we don't have scale degrees. And even when we do have scale degrees going forward, they get wonky because they're based only on the major scale, and really the minor means a 0.5 from the perspective of the major scale, right? So this actually still kind of makes sense because I can take the inverse of that, which would be 12 minus 2, which would be a 10 node away from the Ionian node, and then 7 minus 1.5 would be the 5.5. So I can see it then going forward. It would be going forward then 10 from the 4. Let's see if I was over here and I go forward 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lands me in the ocean. And we can see from a modal standpoint, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. Lands me in the ocean. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of that one. Let's do the next one. We're gonna have to do this a little faster because we're running. This is taking too long. You're pulling too much time, man. You're breaking your own rules. Let's say we go from to a -4. If I go a -4 from the perspective of the Ionian, it would be going to an I to an I minus. So we're going to go to an I from a 1 to a 5.5, not quite making it to the 6. An IA minus, not quite making it to the Aeolian. So that would be a distance of a -4 from the Ionian node, and it would be a -2.5 from the Ionian node, which you would think would be a -3.5 scale degree, but we don't have scale degrees. From this distance standpoint over here, it would be a -4, right? And I would have to say, well, what would be the inverse? 12 minus 4 is 8. So an 8 is a -6. So we'd have to say then the -6 could be going forward 8 or backwards 4. But this is going to be more consistent because I can say, all right, if I'm on the Ionian and I go back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 lands me in the ocean, and I can see that as -1, 2 and a half going backwards. If I go back 4, I can go forward then 12 minus 4, which is 8. And I can go 7 minus 2.5, which is 4.5. So if I go forward, let's go from like here, and I go forward 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, lands me in the ocean, which would also be 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5 forward from a modal half-step perspective. All right, let's erase that. Get in a rhythm here. I think I'm getting in a rhythm. Gotta go faster, faster. All right, I'm going faster. Got to get stuff done. We're going to go back 6. So if I go back 6 then, so if I'm on from the perspective of the Ionian and I go back 6, it would be then a Ionian to the X negative, which would be a 1 to a 4.5. Because if I go back 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're just past, we're in the ocean between the Lydian and the Mixolydian. I'm going to call that the Lydian Ocean. The Lydian's always to the right of it. We'll call it the Lydian Ocean. So we're on the Lydian Ocean, and so if I think about that on this side, we would say it's a -6. What's the inverse? 12 minus 6 is still 6. We call that a diminished fifth. So I can also say it's a negative diminished fifth. Either I go forward 6 or back 6. It's still going to be the diminished fifth. Okay, here it makes more 6. 6 minus 6 would be 6, and 3.5 minus 6 would be 3.5. So I can go I can go from this C, go 6 forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands me in the Lydian Ocean this way, and it's 3.5, 1, 2, 3.5 modal half steps forward. All right, makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Let's do the next one. We're going to go up to this one. So what if I went back 9? So if I go back 9 from an Ionian node, let's say we're going here, so I have room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands me in what I'm going to call the Dorian Ocean. So that's fine. And it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 steps back. So that would be an IP minus modal range, a 1 to a 2.5 modal range. That would be negative 9 back from the Ionian node, which would be negative 5.5 distance. If I counted it this way, it would be negative 9. It would be a negative 9. So 12 minus 9 would be 3, which I know is a minor third. Therefore, the minor third could be 3 forward or negative 9 backwards. This makes more sense because I can say the inverse of a negative 9 Ionian 5, negative 5, 5 would be 9, 3 forward. A forward 3, 12 minus 9 is 3 Ionian, and then a 1.5 modal half steps forward. So in other words, if I was here, I can go 3 forward, 1, 2, 3, lands me in the Dorian Ocean, which is 1.5 modal half steps forward. All right, in the Dorian Ocean. Okay, so let's go up to the last one. So we're going to say 11 back. So if I go 11 back from an Ionian, so can I go, like, do I have one that's far enough up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, not quite, right? So let's go down here. There's be negative 5. So I'm going to go backwards. This is going to be negative 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so that brings me to, I'm going to call it the Ionian Ocean, right? So now we're in the Ionian Ocean, and all right, so that's going to be an ID negative modal range, a 1 to a 1.5 modal range. The distance is a negative 11 from the Ionian node, which is going to be a negative 6.5 modal half steps back, which you would think would be a negative 7.5 scale degree, but we don't have scale degrees. The inverse would be 12 minus 11, which would be a 1 note away from the Ionian node and a 0.5 distance. So if I was going this way then to land in the Ionian Ocean, obviously I only need to go 1 step forward note-wise, which would be a half a step from the standpoint of a modal half step. All right, so let's go ahead and let's do another one. So we're going to compare the modes to the next mode, which will be the Lydian mode, which will be similar again to the major key. So these are going to be the more similar modes. So if I go negative 1 backwards, I'm going to go negative 1 backwards, negative 1 backwards.